Welcome, everyone, to the L7C podcast, Dragon Ball edition. Today, we are going to be talking about Dragon Ball Super manga chapter number 75. And we are also going to be giving our thoughts on Watch Mojo's crazy top 20 Dragon Ball fights of all time and giving a little thoughts on what we think of Dragon Ball Superhero, the name. So we have our Dragon Ball expert with us, Mitch Oso. How are you doing today, sir?
Doing fantastic as always. How about yourself?
I'm doing good, man. So before we get into the chapter, our last recording was right before Comic-Con and the movie. We're going to get some movie news, and we got the name Dragon Ball Superhero. Are you okay with that name?
It's kind of boring, but it would have been better if we actually saw some more of the actual movie itself, other than a little animation with Goku, warming up on the logo, and just a couple of concept art of Piccolo, Pan, and some random other characters that will be a part of it. If there was more to what we saw, it probably would have been fine, but Dragon Ball Superhero, really what kind of repetitive, but so was, Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan. So it's just the nature of the beast, apparently.
Yeah, that name was really, really weird. I was just like superhero, okay. And then also people have been speculating, like, obviously, like, are we gonna have superheroes? This is gonna be maybe Great Saiyaman centric or something like that. But I don't know, man. It comes out in 2022. I'll be very interested in the first like trailer and like synopsis of the movie.
It'll be here before we know it too. Time flies, man.
That's true. And it will be our first anime thing, if you don't count Heroes, since Broly, since the movie. So
just remember Dragon Ball Heroes, Dragon Ball Superheroes, it's been on longer in terms of anime episodes than what Super did in its entirety. So
that's freaking wild. That's freaking wild. So to go back to the manga, so Mitch, this manga has been trending for 2 straight days before it even came out today. We had Vegeta trending 2 days for positive things because of one picture and people seeing Vegeta dominate. And then yesterday, Twitter was set ablaze because the next picture that was spoiled for us was Vegeta on the ground, and Twitter wasn't having it. Even Christopher Sabat, the voice of Vegeta over here at the States, was not having it. What did you think when you saw for 2 straight days Vegeta was trending on different ends of the spectrum?
Well, I love spoilers. As anyone who knows me or even listens, I love spoilers. So when the spoilers were coming out that Vegeta was going to have a field day, it was exciting. It was great to see. I expected that Vegeta would lose, and I mean that's what he normally does. But it seemed like he was going to have the spotlight for a decent amount of time. Vegeta naturally would have to lose this early on into the arc just so the arc could continue. That's just common sense. But then all of a sudden, we get that in the same chapter, he's going to get his ass kicked. And with no other context other than he's lying on the ground, beat up, it totally negates all the positive, good feelings that everybody was having, because we were hoping that, we were finally going to break the mold of what happens in these arcs. And, Vegeta gets his turn and he just gets stomped. It was a terrible taste in everyone's mouth the last day or so. Now the chapter is out, and depending on who you are, I mean, you might think that it's just as bad as it was. Some people don't think it's as bad as what the spoilers led, but the thing that I want to reiterate, because I made this point back when Goku gave the Senzu bean to Moro, these chapters cannot be coming out once a month, and this kind of negativity happens. It's borderline not good PR, because YouTube and Twitter, they're just filled with videos and tweets that are just bashing Dragon Ball. You know, if a video or if a manga chapter came out every week, then these bad tastes in people's like mouths, they aren't there almost at all. Now, fortunately, with Vegeta's ass beating leak, it came out just like a couple days ago. But like with the Senzu Bean with Moro, that was almost like what, a week or 10 days before the chapter came out, and everyone had to just boil in that pot until it came out. So it's just how they have these manga chapters getting set up. It just sometimes those spoilers, they're both good for the hype, but man, they can piss off the community so easily.
I agree. I haven't seen the community this pissed since the Sensu Bean. Like, I have not seen them this mad for 2 days. Now it's probably going to be 3 days straight. Probably maybe die down tomorrow, but then people like us, when we get our reaction videos out, then it'll recirculate again for the people who do listen to us, and they'll get mad again. And then here we are. But when Chris Sabbath said something, I was just like, sweet Jesus.
Yeah, that was a shocker. Just to be able to see, because he voices, as we all know, he voices a ton of characters for anime.
Mm-hmm.
And for him to tweet something seemingly in frustration, I start to wonder if that's a jab at like, did Toriyama or does he think kind of like negatively on that? Does that bother him? Because I mean, Savage been there since day one of Dragon Ball in English.
Mm-hmm.
So it just I doubt any drama would come out of it, but it's just like, well, that's a curveball. Well,
I think the biggest thing before we review it on Twitter too, the poor tone deaf timing of Toei Animation posting like, remember this Vegeta moment? And it's when he beat Toppo, which is probably his biggest win individually ever, and probably will be now forever. But posting it after everyone was pissed, and then you saw the big Dragon Ball Twitters be like, dude, this is terrible timing.
Yeah, I mean, you would almost think that whoever was in charge of their Twitter accounts was just doing that just in spite of everyone.
Yes.
Kind of just as a jab, like a troll. That's exactly what they were. They were just trolling us. And kind of a ballsy move. Or maybe, just some intern who didn't know what was happening in the manga chapter. And
well, that intern's gone now. They're gone. That intern's gone, if that was an intern.
Oh yeah, he's fired. But well, that's the thing. Maybe that intern was just a big old Dragon Ball fan like us. And he was excited that Vegeta was going to have his shining moment, and he was like, well, I'm going to make a tweet and I want to hype this up right beforehand. And then he got kicked right in the groin. So,
well, let's get into this chapter, man, and let's see if the world really needed to be as mad as it was. And it started right where we left off of 74, like Vegeta's transformed, and we're gonna have to talk. Spoiler alert, don't really like the name that they've been calling it, just FYI. And Granolah is talking about like, your power is unbounded. What does that mean? And basically, Vegeta just blitzed him, grabs him by his, I guess, sweater, shirt collar. He's talking about his head's gotten too big. It's time to take him down a peg. And then Vegeta's like, get ready for a toast of my tough love. And then from pages 3 all the way to 7, it's just Granolah getting freaking stomped. And then he's trying to retaliate. He finally gets a double punch hit in Vegeta. And Vegeta is just, if you look at page like 7 at the bottom left, Vegeta looks like a pure freaking bloodthirsty villain. And he's like, the thing is, the hotter my battle soul burns, the stronger I get. And then he just continues to thrash Granolah for pages on pages end. Then you get to page 11 where he's like, Vegeta's entirely different persons. He's stronger by taking damage. Then Granola's asking, like, what's a god of destruction? So you really learn that Granolah really does not know that much about the full universes. And Vegeta tells him what a god of destruction is. And he's the one who taught me about the power. Granola's thinking, like he did with the Dragon Balls, does this god grant you this power? And Vegeta's like, no, this power is my own. And he said right here, our battle has awakened it for the first time. And Mitch, I know before we were recording, you were talking about like, yeah, you expected him to lose because this was his first time using the form. Now I'm with that panel there. I kind of think it's a little BS that this is the first time ever, like just transforming into the form. He never transformed against it, like trading with Berus, don't you think? So what I was just talking about page 12 where Vegeta was talking about this is his first time like ever using the form. And I know you brought this up about like, hey, he should lose because it's his first time ever using it, but he didn't even get this in training. He got this like that day. I kind of call BS on that, wouldn't you?
Yeah, that kind of doesn't make sense that you know, he says that Beerus taught it to him, um like it had to be unlocked just by getting his ass kicked there. So it's kind of weird story plot. Like we're trying to get the magic of Super Saiyan. You know, like Goku had to go through emotional trauma to unlock it, and now we're just talking about just physical trauma with Vegeta's body. It's like, okay, really? But you didn't hint at this to begin with. We only hinted that Vegeta could basically Hakai people, but okay.
It makes no sense because 2 chapters ago, when Vegeta said it was his turn, we all were like, the dude can't go MUI. He's going to get his ass whooped. So he has to have a transformation. And then last chapter, he transformed. We're like, oh, he was confident because he had this transformation. But this chapter just said he just got that transformation last chapter. So I don't know what the hell Vegeta was thinking that he was going to beat Granolah because he had no guarantee he was going to get this form.
Yeah, he's just sitting there and he's just praying. That's basically he's just hoping that that he gets it. It's kind of strange that Vegeta would basically go in to a fight with no guarantee that he was going to even reach this state.
Yeah, and then the fight continues. Granola's like, I drew this straight out. Vegeta's like, I'm grateful. Enough nonsense. He's gonna keep attacking. Vegeta's like eating these attacks, which I guess he's like, good, nothing revs me up more. But you could tell like this is like, I guess, an omen thing, because wouldn't you just put, I guess, the god of destruction energy, or in his case, flames, around you so that you don't get hurt like Toppo did?
Yeah. This is just something like brand new. It's like, why does Vegeta need to take damage to get stronger? It's I mean, it's kind of a cool concept, but like I'm trying to think, like, is this how Beerus fights? Like, does Beerus get stronger as he gets his ass kicked? Is that what defines a god of destruction?
Right.
Isn't this also just a in battle, like what is it, Zenkai boost? Like God of Destructions have Zenkai boosts mid battle. I don't know. It's a unique approach, and they're just trying to keep it, fresh and do something original. Which, I mean, I guess I gotta I gotta at least applaud that they at least try that, because we didn't want this to be a same old, kind of routine with how some of these arcs go sometimes. But oh well.
Yeah, so Granola's continuing to get his ass beat, and he puts a shield up, and Granola's like, why don't you dodge? Isn't this the same power up as your ally? And Vegeta's like, Kakarot's Ultra Instinct, don't compare his pathetic technique. And I was like, ooh, pathetic. I mean, it's MUI's done wonders for him. But he's just like, Kakarot's body may have a mind of its own, but I'm all ego. In fact, go ahead and call this Ultra Ego. And that's what it was called on this. Don't know if that's the transformation they're going to call it on the official wikis. I know people are saying Master Instinct or whatever the hell it is, but I don't like either of those names at all. Mitch, what do you think of those names?
um, I think the issue that came about is I remember reading um, people's tweets, like I think Todd Blankenship on Twitter. And for anyone that doesn't know Todd Blankenship, he does a lot, or at least he did, and then all of a sudden he fell off the face of the planet for a little while and then came back. He used to be kind of everyone's go-to whenever it came to Dragon Ball spoilers and translations. Anything that came out, he was the guy in which you would check on his Twitter to see what was going on. And he, long story short, this is like a difficult translation to make into English. I can't really go into what it was in Japanese, but whenever I was reading his tweets briefly, it was just hard to have a literal translation from Japanese to English. With that being said, though, Ultra Ego, it's it kind of made me chuckle. I mean, I guess it makes sense. I mean, if we're talking about someone who is all, I mean, their ego is just through the roof. It's no one other than Vegeta. This guy is always uh, been about, his strength, how, much better than he is than others, pride in that. So, I mean, it makes sense, the name Ultra Ego. But on the flip side, it's kind of laughable because I'm like, I don't want to call your God of Destruction um, transformation Ultra Ego.
Right.
It's not something I want to see in video games. It's not something I want to discuss. It's like what were some of the names that we had or the community was passing around? Uh, like Hakayo Shin, Hakai Vegeta or Vegeta whatever, and those were better names than Ultra Ego.
Right.
I also keep thinking of Ego from like Guardians of the Galaxy. Like it's just ridiculous.
Granolah puts up his shield and just Vegeta just kicks right through. And that was the page, I think the day before we got the Vegeta on the ground page where everyone's like, oh my gosh, yeah, Vegeta's winning. And then like he was killing him. And then you have Onedo finally gets seen. He's like, Granola's caught up in some fright, but against Hook, could it be Frieza? I'm sitting there, I was like, guys, we do not need to be worrying about Frieza unless he's training or he brings Broly back on a freaking collar. You do not have to worry about him.
Mm-hmm.
And then Granola's talking, and I was like, Jesus, help us. You aren't even Frieza. There's no way I'll lose to some third-rate sand grunt. First of all, he's an elite. Get the cannon right. Secondly,
well, Granolah doesn't know that.
That is true. And the Prince of all Saints will get the canon right. And he's telling him, I have no ideas what tales you've told him. We finally get some talking. Go ahead.
Well, actually, I'm trying to remember. Granolah now knows that Vegeta was the prince, wasn't he? Did he mention that last chapter when they were talking? I forget.
I thought Vegeta said something like that was stuff my dad did, but not me. Yeah. And if you should be able to put two and two together if he said his dad was in charge. But Vegeta's just like, bro, I really don't know what you're talking about. But Frieza blew up our stuff. He destroyed planet Vegeta himself. The Sand Tribe is yet another push to the brink of extinction by Frieza. His AI is asking if that's true. That contradicts what you were told. I'm like, you didn't double check your sources. And he's like, even if you didn't tell the truth, I'm still going to get my revenge against you, Sand. He punched Vegeta right in the head. And Vegeta just braced for impact. And you see the blood coming. Believe what you want, but I speak the truth and don't think for a second I want your pity. Then Vegeta just really just kicks him in the air. And then you could tell finally, like his AI Oatmeal's like appears like the Sands are a victim as well. It doesn't, and yet it does not seem these two were made aware of that about like his race. And he said enough Oatmeal. So he basically just threw his AI to the ground. I'm like, oh, all right. And then he was just like, now that I'm the strongest, I don't need your support anymore. I was like, oh, someone's getting a little big for their britches over there. All right. And then he's talking about the red eye, the mark of your people. You've claimed I'm not used to my power. Then Granolah starts just going crazy. Like, he's tearing up his own little town. He's willing to destroy his own city. Now Vegeta's blocking all the stuff. And he's still taking hits. And now Vegeta has like just the inner part of his armor on. The armor's gone. And Vegeta's like, you'll go to any lengths then? Fine by me, bring it on. I'm like, what am I watching here or reading? And then Oatmeal goes back to the ship. And then you have more Vegeta and Granolah just going at it. And then Vegeta's like, let's keep this up. I can grow even stronger, even though he is bleeding all over the place. And then he's like, Granolah shoots this little precision blast. He's like, you can dodge after all, or you hitting your limit at last. The unwise to doubt a Sans combat prowess will live. We live for battle. Finally, it's been a while. Page 33. The protagonist is finally, Goku. He's back. If you forgot about him, remember MUI, he got put down by the snipes. But he's like, man, I've been on the sidelines forever. And he puts his hand on his heart. I don't know if does that look like he's healing himself with some energy?
No, yeah, he's healing himself.
That's wild. I didn't know we had that ability now.
That's ridiculous.
I feel like that is getting underlooked in the community.
That's bullshit. I'm gonna put that on record right now, and I'm gonna say it, Frank. That's a bullshit. Because what is the point of senzu beans when Goku can just put his hand over his heart, say the Pledge of Allegiance, and then can heal himself? That's a bullshit. Yeah. That takes away from the fact that they only have like 1 or 2 senzu beans now.
Mm-hmm. They just casually put it in the chapter. Like, no one is talking about like, dude,
he has never done that. Mm-hmm. He has never done that except for one time. He's done something similar to that. And that was in the anime whenever it was that filler episode with Hit, whenever Hit blasted his heart and then he shot that ki blast up to space and had a volleyball back into his chest. That's the only time in which something like that I can recall that's happened from at least somebody who doesn't have magical abilities. So that's bullshit. Wild,
man. And while he's healing himself, Vegeta and Granolah are still going at it. And Granolah's getting ready and Vegeta's like, vision blurry. I'm like, I've taken too much damage. I mean, if this was opposite, it's like he's taking too much drinks and he's power drunk. Because like he's saying his vision's blurry, like he's been getting hit. And Granolah's getting in that sniper mode thing. And Vegeta's like, fine, I got to end this now. And it basically looks like a Hakai spirit bomb.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, you want to protect your precious planet? You better stop this yourself. This will destroy anything it touches. I'm like, And then Granolah has his eye ready. Vegeta throws it at him. And while he's throwing it at him, the other eye for Granolah, his normal eye, becomes red too. So now he has 2 red eyes and he double precision blasts it. And I'm just like, sweet Lord. And then everyone's seeing the reaction. Goku, the heater, Monedo, everyone's seeing it. And then page 43 is the page that everyone saw with no context. Vegeta on the ground. He said, damn it, how did you? I have to thank you, San. You're responsible for drawing out this power of mine. So throughout this fight, Granolah just unlocked his other eye, which makes him even more dangerous. And then, Mitch, the final pages, we got your group finally making a move. The Heaters.
Yep.
They are making a move. And I saw your guy Gas with the radar. Where gas is coming, man.
Yep. It's still wondering what in the hell can they do. They have to, I was speculating today that they had to do some sort of mind control. They have to. I don't know what Gas has up his sleeve or what the Heaters got up their sleeve, but I mean they're about to just flip this entire script. I believe it will be an October chapter. I believe we'll I don't know if we'll see them collect, I think, both balls, and I assume they'll summon the dragon. But will they make the wish? something big is going to happen in October, at least November. And yeah, I start to think they're going to at least piss off Granolah. I bet Granolah turns good for a second and joins Goku and Vegeta, because I think the Heaters are going to kill that Namekian. What's his name? Because they're going to summon the dragon, and he's going to be like, "Huh? Someone summoned the dragon. I got to go investigate," because he was sleeping the last time.
Monato. I think they're too smart. They're gonna, as soon as they get their wish, they're gonna be like, we'd hate for someone to use the Dragon Balls on us because they know about these ones. Then they're gonna kill them.
Yep. Yeah, Monato's dead.
But like, man, they're just like silly so-called Dragon Balls that grant any wish, and they have the radar. They're on their way to be continued, and that's chapter 45 in a nutshell. So, Mitch, now that we've actually read the chapter, was that page they leaked yesterday a little bit misleading, or
it was more misleading. I wanted this whole chapter to have been about Vegeta doing great. I didn't want to see any signs of losing other than maybe like a foreshadowing that Granolah was about to turn it up. But yeah, I mean that panel that was leaked last. I mean, everybody just thought that Vegeta was just going to get pummeled. So, I mean, he didn't even get pummeled in this chapter. The only reason why he was on the ground was because Granolah stopped the attack. It's not like Granolah went up and punched him in the face and smacked him to the ground and then was walking towards him. Vegeta had a huge attack, and Granolah unleashed some potential power, and Vegeta's recuperating. So it's not as bad as it's not as bad as what it was, but you gotta be careful with them leaks. They can change your entire narrative.
Oh, they did, because people were mad saying, "Man, I can't be a Vegeta fan no more. This is so painful."
They can't be a Dragon Ball fan. They've given up.
They've given up. Like, Vegeta was trending so bad, it got the other characters who've gotten screwed so bad trending. Because Gohan fans were telling Vegeta fans to stop crying. At least you've gotten power ups since Dragon Ball Z. We haven't gotten anything. Yep. And I was just like, oh, this is. And there was that one Squidward meme's like, man, Gohan fans are coming out. Man, this is the people are getting bold today.
Yep. It was whack, man. It was whack. But we got another chapter coming up, and on September 20th, according to Viz.com here, it's September 20th. But strangely enough, on the on the chapter here at the very end, normally it would say to be continued on said date, but this one just says to be continued. So it says that there should be a chapter next month on the website, but I mean, don't be surprised if they push it back. Maybe something's about to go down. Maybe they're going to announce some new stuff. Maybe they need a break. Maybe they're going on vacation. I don't know. But we expect a chapter release on September 20th. But we'll have to wait and find out.
Yeah, this I felt like they knew what they were doing, but then I didn't think, because the old saying, any publicity is good publicity. And God help them, they have a whole lot of publicity, probably for the rest of the weekend. Because yesterday, man, Twitter, I know we joke about it, but gosh, you really see the power of the Dragon Ball community, because Dragon Ball has been trending on Twitter for like 3 days straight.
Yep. Yeah, it is. And that goes to show you, how powerful this franchise is on just in the world of entertainment, or on social media. Because don't want to dive into it, but if you haven't seen what's going on in news like the past week or two, then you should probably check out some news other than listening to our podcast. But thank you, though. Please continue, keep listening. But there's a lot going on in the world that is consuming all news media outlets, and Dragon Ball it's still at the forefront. So it's amazing. It's insane.
Like it's wild, man. But no, I think with the full chapter, it wasn't as bad as what we thought it was. We thought Granolah hit him with a 1-2 precision blast. And then for like the people who were before the chapter, I'm like, theoretically, MUI Goku is still stronger than Vegeta, and MUI Goku has lost. So being logical, Vegeta's stuff would not be stronger than MUI Goku, at least not from the beginning, because we instantly thought this was like an omen thing for Vegeta. So it's like you expected him to lose anyway. As shit. I mean, he put up a better fight in the last chapter than I thought he was going to have 2 chapters ago.
Yeah, yeah, most definitely.
But heaters are coming, man. Goku's awake. So we're going to see that. I've seen people on Twitter talking about we need help. Someone go get Broly ASAP. And I was just responding saying, if Toriyama wanted this over, he'd have Goku and Vegeta fusion. Granolah be dead.
Yes.
That's simple.
Yep.
But we can't have an arc end that quickly after Moro took 2 years.
Yeah. Definitely not. I will say about this transformation, though, I kind of do like that Vegeta kind of has this psycho mentality.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's kind of cool just because in that sense, it is kind of different than anything else. I mean, he is trying to take damage, therefore to get stronger, even though it seems like there's a limit to that, and after too much damage, then it just hurts him. But I mean, he like these panels. Whenever you like looking at him, I mean, he has a crazed look in his eye. It's illustrated pretty well, and no complaints on that. Like you look at page 7, whenever he gets punched right in the gut by Granolah with 2 hands, and then he's just smiling, and he's like, the terminology is kind of weird, but the hotter his battle soul burns, the stronger he grows. Weird translation, but also there's another. There's another on page 3 when Vegeta's about to beat the crap out of Granolah, and he's like, "Get ready for a tough dose, or a dose of my tough love." Yeah, I don't think they should have tried to be as literal on that one. They should have figured out something new on that. But oh well. Translation: Caleb Cook. High recommendation. Just don't do a literal translation on that. Just say that Vegeta's like, get ready for an ass beating, man.
Yeah. Oh, overall, I think the chapter was fine. I'm excited that the heaters were the last page because now we know they got the radar. They're coming. Now I'm starting to think we won't see Frieza until Christmas. I think he's going to be like the end of the year or the start of 2022 because people got to realize Frieza ain't what they're. This ain't Frieza from the Frieza saga, man.
Bro, the heaters are lining up to be the ones that kill Frieza. Like, Granola's not going to get his opportunity at revenge. He's going to have to fight the heaters for betraying him. But the heaters, they're going to be the ones that, once they wreck Goku, Vegeta, and Granolah, they're going right over to Frieza. And they're going to get rid of Frieza. And then they're going to be the dominant force in the universe. Unless, like what you said, Frieza has figured something out.
Yeah, so we'll have to wait and see. Wait and see on 76 on that. But they weren't the only ones, the chapter that had a little controversial stuff with the watch with DB. Watch Mojo had their top 20 Dragon Ball fights of all time. And I'm not going to go through all of them. What I am going to do, guys, is post the list in the description. And if you want to watch the Watch Mojo video, don't read the description of our episode because we're going to have the list. And Mitch, I know I sent you the list. I know you saw the video. And I think me more than you, I was kind of hot about some matches not getting included and some placings on this thing.
Yeah. So whenever I look at top 10, top 20 lists, I mean, everyone's going to have, their own lists. And for the most part, I kind of look at where do you have it on the list? And then do I have it relatively close on my list to that? And if you have something at 1 and I have it at like 3, then I think I would view it as we're in the same ballpark with that. And looking at the list, there's a couple things here that I mean, it's not a terrible list. It's not a great list. But some points here. Number one, we all know this. If anyone says differently, then they're biased or they just don't watch the show. But number one, Goku versus Frieza, Namek Saga.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a debate. That's not an opinion. It was just the best fight. It had a great storyline to it. And I mean, we can just kind of move on from that. But number 2, I don't know if I would put this at 2.
Are we just going to do the top 10, or you want
to? We'll do top 10, and then we'll make a couple remarks regarding the other ones.
Okay.
Number 2, actually, he put Goku versus Jiren, Tournament of Power, number 2. I disagree that it's number 2. I think it's a very important fight. I think it's a pretty sweet fight just because it had longevity, it had stakes. I give it a little more credit than probably some others, though, because if the thing that stinks about Super is that it is in the time gap between Majin Buu and the 28th World Martial Arts Tournament. So we know all these people are alive. So whatever happens, even in this arc, Goku and Vegeta and everyone is going to be alive. So now, granted, usually you always know that, the good guys are going to win at an arc, but you don't know who's potentially going to die, what's going to change. You don't know. It's like the consequences or any negative possibilities are kind of just wiped off the board because we've seen everybody at the end here. So, but that's the thing is that if I try to ignore the fact that we all know that, the Tournament of Power is pretty intense. I mean, these are universes that are all getting wiped out, and you got Jiren who's stupid strong, and I mean, you just don't know. And so, but yeah, I don't put it at number 2, because there's better, at least storylines. There's other storylines that are better. Like number 3 is Gohan and Cell. Yeah, Gohan is.
I'm not gonna lie. This is the part where when I was watching the list on Sunday, when we were making breakfast here at the house, and I saw this at 3, and I instantly flipped. And Courtney's like, "Oh, well, you knew you were going to get mad during the list," and I was like, "No, this is disrespectful. This needs to be 2 at minimum."
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this needs to be 2 because Gohan's. This is only like Gohan's only true like moment. I mean, he's had minor moments whenever he helped Gohan at number 3. I mean, he's had his moments, as I was saying. Against Raditz, he helped him win. He messed up Vegeta. But Gohan's arc was always building that he had something special, right? And that he was going to do something great. And he only did like minor things. And then when Cell came along, he goes Super Saiyan 2 and he saves the Earth, right? So, I mean, that was 100 episodes, probably. Whatever episode number that was. I mean, he had 100 episodes of hype building and storytelling, and then he had a phenomenal fight against Cell. So that should be number 2 because, let's be honest with you, the Tournament of Power could have had better writing if they combined the best things out of the anime and of the manga. That arc would have been perfect. But now maybe I look at longevity a lot more, but I mean, it is what it is. Number 4, as Marnet said, Goku versus Vegeta during the Saiyan Saga. Classic fight, of course, it needs to be there. Number 5 then is Gogeta versus Broly in Dragon Ball Super. I mean, that fight was amazing. It was, high budget too. So, I mean, of course, it would look good. And number 6 is Goku versus Majin Vegeta. Another great fight. 7, Goku versus Kefla.
No.
You know. Number 8, Goku and Vegeta versus Kid Buu. Number 9, Goku versus Perfect Cell. 10 is Vegeta versus Toppo. I'm just going to go on the list here. Number 11, Piccolo and Android 17. Highly underrated fight that really
that should be in the top 10. I honestly can make a case it should be close to the 7 or 6s. It should be up there.
And we have I kind of like this one actually. Goku and Trunks versus Black and Zamasu. Number 13, Gotenks versus Super Buu. 14 is Vegeta versus Fuse Zamasu. Anyways, 15, finally have some Dragon Ball love. And Goku versus Piccolo Jr. And 16, Goku versus Berus from Battle of Gods. 17, Goku versus Frieza, Resurrection F. 18, Vegito versus Super Buu. 19, Goku versus King Piccolo. Then 20, Future Trunks versus King Cold and Mecha Frieza. So that rounds off the top 20.
Okay. So a couple things. I'm not gonna pull this list too much. So the Goku versus Jiren tournament power, I definitely wouldn't have a number 2. And also, I'm gonna be more politically correct on Goku versus Jiren. I don't think it should be called just Goku versus Jiren Tournament of Power. I think it should be called Universe 7 versus Jiren. Because Goku he had the first fight when he fought him, got his ass whooped, and then went to Omen. Then most of the time it was him and Vegeta, fighting, and then he had the thing when he was MUI. Then it was him, Frieza, and 17. I felt like that was more Universe 7 versus Jiren, because Universe 7 has always won in everything that they've done. And for the real first time, they had a dude where they were not beating unless they all worked together. Like, I just felt like.
Could you make that argument, though, in regards to Gohan?
Versus Cell?
I mean, the only thing that goes against what I just said there, though, was Goku gave, Cell a senzu bean. Without Vegeta and the crew, Gohan could not have killed Cell there at the end.
Yeah, you can make that argument.
I think Jiren's is way more prevalent. I think what you said is way more true with Jiren, because I mean they tried to gang him the entire arc and couldn't do so until Goku went MUI just to level the playing field.
And my thing with that, the only difference is that after it was all over, Gohan was still the last person standing against Cell, and he delivered the final hit. Goku wasn't even the final person in the Tournament of Power. It was 17. Like, he didn't beat
17, him. Yeah, 17 just stood there.
Yeah.
It was Frieza and Goku at the final hit there.
And after, like, Jiren took those hits from MUI Goku, and sure, MUI wore off, Jiren still had enough energy to, like, power up again.
Yep.
So it was just like that. And then the Kefla thing, that just really pissed me off, because a lot of people like Kefla and a lot of people hate Kefla. She's very polarizing, but I like Watch Mojo. They were just the things like, oh, after Kefla beat Super Saiyan Blue, I was like, hold on, context. Goku wasn't fully healed. I don't think a fully healed Goku would need UI to beat Kefla at any means. And I thought it was only in there because of the ending, because of the Kamehameha.
Yeah,
but
the things in which I'm disputing to some extent on this list. I am disputing Goku and Jiren and where they are on this list. I think it can still be maybe a top 10, maybe, but not a 2. I am disputing Goku versus Kefla. I don't think it's sure as hell not a top 10. If it is on this list, it's at a 20. But I am disputing Vegito versus Fuse Zamasu.
That should not be on there.
It should not even be an honorable mention. It was sweet but that did not last an episode, and actually mentions that in his episode. But that's the thing, is that fight, if anything, was fan service. And I get that. And I get that in Heroes. I don't need it, apparently. And like, how many episodes? And maybe it was like, 3, 4, 5 of Vegito versus Super Boo. Like, there was a ton that went on in that fight, in that storyline. Like, I mean, Vegito turned into candy and kicked Super Boo's ass. What? That's way better in terms of storytelling and whatnot than Fuse Zamasu. And that was the first time we ever saw a fusion of Goku and Vegeta. There's something way more special than that. So, yeah, Vegeta's Fuse Zamasu, not even, no, it needs off this list. I'm disappointed that there's not more Dragon Ball love, because Dragon Ball fights were, I mean, the choreography was way, way better on those, because these people aren't wicked fast like what they are now, and one of my personal favorite fights is Goku versus Krillin in the World Martial Arts Tournament. It was their first head-to-head fight after being trained by Master Roshi, and it was just good storytelling. But nope, that's not on the list here. Goku and Tien is not on this list. I don't know how Goku versus Jackie Chun, Master Roshi, is not on this list from the World Martial Arts Tournament. I mean, how's that not on this list? Goku turned into a great ape in the middle of the fight, destroyed the arena, and Master Roshi had to blow up the moon to win the World Martial Arts Tournament. How's that not on this list?
Bro, Piccolo versus Toppo Piccolo versus 17 not being in the top 10 really just, that would irked me, because if you take out any fight that involved a Saiyan, this would be the number one fight in Dragon Ball.
Yes.
Like, this fight was so, seeing it that low irritates the hell out of me.
It's the only fight, as you said, it's the only fight on here that doesn't have a Saiyan.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I guess that's the thing. Whenever I disputed these other ones, I was trying to knock down these. As for ones that need to go up, yeah, Piccolo Android 17, that needs to go up. Goku Perfect Cell could probably go up.
Yes.
I think that fight is better than Goku Vegeta versus Kid Buu.
Mm-hmm.
Majin, it should be, Goku Frieza, Gohan Cell, Goku Vegeta, and then Goku and Majin Vegeta. Because those fights they were just so good.
I also don't know what their criteria was, like if they were counting like moments or just like pure fight choreography. Because I was offended that Vegito versus Fuse Zamasu was on here, but Vegeta versus Broly by itself was not on here.
Yeah.
Like, what are we doing? Oh, and shout out to, how the hell is Goku versus Hearts not on this list?
The fact there's no Heroes love on here it's bad. Like, come on, man. Heroes is pumping out so much more content. You have to consider it in everything you talk about now.
Or if you want to talk about scale of despair and all that stuff, the Z Fighters versus Omega Shenron should be considered, because they were, when you watch that for the first time, you're like, oh my gosh, like after Fusion War, like we're really going to lose.
I didn't think about that. I didn't think about that at all, that there's no GT on here.
Mm-hmm. Scale-wise, Z Fighters versus Omega Shenron, because you did not know what was happening. Like, the scale was wild. Omega was a whole different breed.
I put Baby in here too.
Baby was
super Baby Vegeta. I put Baby Vegeta Goku in here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like it said, the list said we were supposed to go through all things of Dragon Ball. I was like, this ain't all things of Dragon Ball to me.
Oh, yeah. I'm getting rid of Vegito versus Fuse Zamasu for. I would put go Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta versus Omega Shenron there before I put that.
Yeah. Yeah. I like I would really have to sit down and because they put the future Trunks and Kid Cole and Mecha Frieza to start the list. Because I mean, Trunks has one of the best anime intros ever. Because you didn't know who the hell this guy was, and he drops the famous line, "You're about to find out what it's like to fight a real Super Saiyan." And I'm not talking about Goku. And you're just like, oh, all right. So, like, I don't know, man. I would have to really sit down and do my own top 20 after looking and watch Mojo. Maybe I will by next episode and drop my own top 20 by next month. So it gives me a month to do it.
Yeah.
But honestly, outside the list, last really thing, man, is that you were the first podcast on the L7C, and we're a little couple days early, but we're about to hit the year anniversary, man. You were the one who started it all for the L7C with the first episode talking about Dragon Ball and the state of Dragon Ball. And here we are a year later, which we reviewed the chapter talking about the state of Dragon Ball. How do you feel, man? 1 year.
It's just crazy just how, time flies. And I was the first podcast, but, tip your hat to yourself. You made it possible we talked about this for, half of a decade or, pushing a decade. And you're the one that took the initiative. So round of applause to yourself. And but then I might have been the first podcast, but what you've done to branch everything out and all the different inputs and all the other experts in which you've had on the show, you've taken this to a whole nother level and introduced people to a whole bunch of genres and of stuff they may never have had even a clue to. So it's great to see where it's gone and where it's going, and hopefully, every year can be just as successful as what this one was. So it's amazing, man.
That's true. That's true. But I mean, we had to get some listeners, and they turned on to your stuff. So your first one gave us a chance to get some other listeners, and then they gave other people a chance or got different fans. And Dragon Ball has been a prominent thing of the podcast. It always has people listening and prominent a little bit on the YouTube, depending on when we get our episodes out on YouTube. If we get them right in the heat of like a Unreal or a Geekdom or DBS hype, then we catch that wave too, and we have our own insight. But DB is a very consistent thing on the podcast, man. And it, without fans checking that first one out, they might not have stuck around across all the different countries in the world. We didn't think that would ever happen, and it did.
That's crazy to me, though. Just how many people from, someone from Argentina or someone from Australia, wherever it might be, Mongolia. It's like it's just crazy to think that somewhere around the world somebody was like, let's give them a try, collect it, and listen to it. It's amazing.
Right. It's wild, man. But Mitch, anything else before we sign off for today? We covered a lot of Dragon Ball stuff.
Yeah, we did. But no, I don't got anything else. Just send me some good vibes, everyone, while I take care of this kid.
Send the man good vibes. Send him.
If everyone listening, make sure you listen to Martin Jacob and Byron's WWE wrestling podcast. We like to do a little confidence picks of all who will win all the matches, and listen to some of the podcasts. Martin has probably mentioned that Cooper he had a good WrestleMania run, so hopefully if he wins the SummerSlam picks, we'll try to get him on the podcast and give his expertise, because if a 6-month-old can pick the right picks over some of our experts, then he's going to be a well-known insider someday. Then, so we got to try to learn as much as we can from him, but only after he proves himself. So
yeah, Hopefully. That'd be great to have Cooper's like after he gets past whenever he says mom and dad and get like his third word saying L7C. That's a nice, easy word to say for your third word. But with that being said, thank you everyone for listening to the L7C podcast. You guys take care.
Have a good night, everyone.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the L7C podcast. Be sure to like, rate, review, and subscribe to the channel. Follow us on all social media platforms, and we'll be talking to you guys soon. Take care.